Welcome to the Bear Talk, your go-to Chicago Bears podcast, where a father and son break down all things Bears. From Soldier Field to Sunday showdowns, I'm your host, Dylan Weaver, and I'm joined here with my dad. How you doing, Dad?
It's a V formation type of podcast. Before we get into it, though, I really want to talk about one thing and one thing only. 4 minutes and 23 seconds left in the game. The camera's panning the stadium, and something stuck out.
What was that?
The dad holding his toddler son in their Bears gear, and the dad standing there in pride as he's looking on at the Bears with their first win of the 2025 season. What a day for the Bears fans of Chicago, not only locally, but all across the world. Super excited day. So much to talk about. But before we get into the offense, defense, and special teams, I just wanted to say that reminded me what it's all about right there. The father son duo, or the father daughter duo, or the family duo at the game, just enjoying a win. What a feeling it is.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a good feeling today. Even towards the half, it got. I had to sit there and remind myself we still got a second half of football. We're up 10 points, but it's still second half of football. Don't get too excited. And as each drive went by, each minute went by, it just started the emotion started just to come out, and it feels good. And we talked about in our pregame show about how this just was a must-win game. There's a lot of winnable games coming down the stretch, but before we hop into the whole game, I just want to say, thank you to Ben Johnson. I This is three games in of his head coaching career, and the offensive playbook was on full display this week. I mean, it went from everything from trick plays to the one drive, which I really want to break down later, where we ran the ball 11 consecutive times to march that clock down. The fourth down, going for it, gutsy calls. I mean, we saw a little bit of everything from Ben Johnson today, and boy, was it awesome. And I don't know if Ben Johnson is a psycho or something, but this man never, he never smiles. I mean, the Bears are up. There's 30 seconds left. And we're in victory formation. They pan to him, and he's just straight faced, stone cold, probably thinking about, God, that play should have worked. This
He
play
rem-
should have worked. I mean, he is a sicko.
He reminds me of Michael Myers in Halloween. He doesn't run. He's not trotting down he just maintains his composure, maintains his pace, but he's gonna get you. That's the way
Yeah.
it was watching him today.
I mean, it was just stoic, just sitting there. There was so many times they were panning to him, and it was just funny just seeing how locked in he was. No emotion. He realizes there's still game left, and even after the game was well over, he did another flea flicker to Caleb Williams, and it's like, oh my God, this guy is ruthless, and it's so refreshing to see as a Bears fan, just because in years prior we always have been the conservative team, and that's part of the reason we've blown victories, because we get way too conservative way too early. And Ben Johnson is pedal to the metal. He wants to demolish you, and it reminds me a lot of what we've seen from the Lions in these past couple years when he was there. It doesn't matter if they're up 40-7. They're going to go score still, kind of like the Lions did to us last week. They were up 40 points, and they said, yeah, it's fourth down and the fourth and goal. Yeah, we're going to go for it and score another touchdown. I mean, I love that this was a very refreshing game, and it's so cool to see just now week to week to week, especially with Caleb, the continued growth, and hats off to Caleb Williams. Still wasn't a perfect game, but it was a darn good game out of him. Could have easily had well over 300 yards, but like we said, with that methodical drive, Ben Johnson controlling the clock, giving his defense a rest, realizing this is the time to go for the jugular. It was just a great overall game, and I don't even know where you want to go first. Let's. I mean, I kind of want to start with the defense. I feel
Yeah,
like they deserve it,
Tyreek
especially.
Stevenson.
Yeah. The defense, especially, I feel like deserves it because that first half of the game, it kind of felt like what we predicted. It was going to be a shootout game. The defense was getting gashed per run. Javonte Williams was averaging 7 yards a carry, and it's like, Jesus, we can't stop a nosebleed. And it all started. The offense goes out there. We get the ball first. It's a 3-and-out by the Bears, and you're like, here we go. Another week, same stuff's happening. Next thing you know, the Cowboys get the ball. Second play in, Javonte Williams running down the sideline. And who comes out of nowhere? Tyreek Stevenson strips the ball out, completely resets the game. It's back to 0-0. It's pretty much like the game was just starting at that point with him stripping that ball. And it was just a massive, I do feel like there's a couple plays throughout a game where it shifts the momentum. And it's crazy to say this, but that early in the game, I think it did shift the momentum because it gave the defense a little bit more juice that they got a takeaway, and then same thing, it let the offense be like, okay, it's reset 0-0. That 3-and-out really doesn't matter. Let's go restart now with our scripted plays and go drive down the field. And it was awesome to see from our defense. And with all the injuries that have been piled up, for them to only allow this Dallas offense, who, yeah, they were without CeeDee Lamb 3/4 of the game, but as high powered as their offense has been, it was cool to see them only give up 14 points. And that's a defensive win in my book, especially when you look back and see who Dallas has played. They should have beat the Eagles if CeeDee Lamb doesn't drop those 2 balls on that last drive, which the Eagles are undefeated. Then last week, their offense puts up 40-something points and wins in overtime because their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. So to see our defense respond this week, especially after getting 50 points hung on their head last week, it was really encouraging to see.
Yeah, it absolutely was. Dennis Allen, that whole group that he's got out there on that defensive side of the ball, they played a complete game. I mean, you got Montez Sweat getting out on a sack late in the game, pressure on the quarterback, Sewell, the unfortunate injury to CeeDee Lamb. You never want to see anyone get injured. But he was out there in coverage, right, doing his job. You had Tyreek Stevenson, who had a heck of a game. The interceptions, the turnovers the defense had. That defense, when you look at the injury reports out there and some of the key players out of the game, next man up, and they stepped up. I mean, they really stepped up, not only for their coach, but for that home crowd, to really show them that we're here to play. And like you said, right? I mean, week 1, week 2, week 3, every week we've seen improvement, and that's the exciting part, right? I mean, the wins and losses, yes, I always want to win, but when you can see, continuous improvement in your team on all phases of the game, that is just exciting. And I know we talked in the pregame show about how the population of Illinois was, declining, but because people are leaving the state of Illinois. After a win like this, in 9 months from now, the population of Illinois is gonna go up because of all the excitement that happened after today's game.
Yeah, no, it was super exciting. Like you said, Tyreek, what a bounce back week for him. Still going up against elite receivers. Granted, like we already talked about, CeeDee Lamb early in that second quarter goes down with an ankle injury. Don't like to see that, but still being on George Pickens, he's no slouch either. And Tyreek was up for the challenge. It was it was really cool to see from Tyreek. And I know I kind of touched on our pregame show about Tyreek. The guy is full confidence. That's one thing he doesn't lack. And he came in here and showed that. He's like a goldfish. Short memory last week. Here he comes in this week and he played a great game. He was physical. He was contesting balls. I think even one time he had a great chance at interception where he did jump it on the third down and knock the ball up. And if it fortunately for the Cowboys, went out of bounds, but that thing was up in the air and inbounds. I think Tyreek was going to come down with an interception. And then, like you said, Tremaine Edmonds, 2 big picks. Kevin Byard at the end of the game. Yeah, it's garbage time, but still don't let them score another point. We shut them out in the second half. They didn't score a single point, and you love to see that from your defense, especially too that one where they were first and goal on the 2-yard line, and our defense gets it all the way to fourth and goal. They go for it. Dak gets pressure, has to force to throw the ball up at this point. Here comes Tremaine Edmonds, interception. It was just really cool to see. And that first pick by Tremaine Edmonds, by the way, too, he deserved that. The defense deserved that because once again, these refs coming in to play takeaway from the Bears. They call an illegal contact on Tyreek, and the whole booth, Tom Brady, and they're sitting up there. That's not illegal touching. Next play, what happens? Interception. Ball don't lie. Good for Tremaine Edmonds to step up. 2 big picks, and like we already talked about, Tyreek with the strip out of Javonte Williams, and then Kevin Byard late in the game with that pretty much to line us up in victory formation. Really cool to see for that defense, and hopefully this is another huge thing for the defense as well, because now going into next week they can continue this momentum over. They got a little bit more momentum, where that's why this game was really important. I just think it was really important for all phases of the game. They all looked pretty darn good this week, offense, defense, and special teams. Just due to the fact that the first 2 weeks were really bad for kind of all phases, and now they can all continue this momentum and hopefully keep it rolling going into next week against the Raiders, and then you have the bye week. You're 2-2. You reevaluate, fix everything, and it was just super cool to see the defense respond with that, with the injuries. Get by one more week, heal up on the bye week. We should have TJ Edwards and Kyler Gordon back. And we're going to be without Jalen Johnson probably for the season, but getting 2 more starters back, especially Kyler Gordon, I'm just super excited to see what the defense looks like when he's there. But I don't got much on the defense. Like I said, hats off to them. They showed up, especially in that second half. The first half was a little, come on, guys, we need to get off the field. But to see the defense respond in the second half, Dennis Allen's going to love that. I'm sure Ben Johnson's going to love it. And let's continue that momentum over heading to Vegas next week.
Yeah, I would say just a couple points to add to that before we close out the defense. One, we talked about in the pregame, Tyreek stayed disciplined. Regardless of the success he was having, he never got too loose, or overconfident where it potentially cost us, a Hail Mary or some penalties. He played a complete game out of Tyreek Stevenson. Really excited to see that out of him. And hopefully, like you said, the goldfish, short-term memory. Hopefully, we continue to see that throughout the rest of the year. And then I would add on, but I know we're skipping a little bit here, but I watched that Raiders Commanders game today, specifically for the reason that we play them the next 2 games coming up, and I wanted to really watch the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And based on what I've seen today from the Bears, should be some really good games for us. Especially next week in Vegas, and then the bye week, get everyone healthy again, and then going into DC to take on the Commanders. So the next 2 weeks look really good, or at least the euphoria that I'm feeling today from the Bears win is telling me that the next 2 games are going to be really exciting, and we should be able to pull a win, keeping my 15-2 prediction alive.
Yeah.
So thank you, Bears, for that.
Yeah. And why don't you, I'm sure I know who you're going to say, but why don't we try doing this? Let's give out some MVPs after the game for the defense. You can pick one. Obviously, I'm sure I know who you're going to go with, and I'll pick the other one, but you can go first. If you had to give out, let's say, a game ball or MVP to a defensive player, who would you give it to?
Tyreek Stevenson gets the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
unbelievable game.
yeah, great bounce back from Tyreek. We've said it enough, but what a game from him, and hopefully this continues over. I'm going to give my defensive MVP to Tremaine Edmonds. He led our team today in tackles, 15 tackles out of Tremaine Edmonds. Very impressive. He also had the two interceptions, so I'm going to give that one to Tremaine Edmonds. With TJ Edwards not being there and Noah Sewell having to fill in like we saw week 1, I
And
think
he did a great
Tremaine,
job
I
again.
think, yeah, I think Tremaine stepped up for that group, the secondary as well, especially too that first interception. Like I said, it was impressive. A bobble off the hands of George Pickens, and that ball. Those are the ones where they look like interceptions, and they show the replay, and the ball hits the ground. No, he got both his hands right underneath it before the ground, tucks it to his chest. Great interception from Tremaine. So we'll give ours to Tyreek and Tremaine Edmonds for this game. And why don't we shift over onto the offense? Very good day for the offense. And I will just start too by saying we'll go through some of the stat lines. Caleb Williams, 19 for 28, 68% completion percentage, 298 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and the most important stat that a lot of people go unnoticed: 0 sacks today out of Caleb Williams. Props to the O line for that, and also props to Caleb for getting the ball out on time. And if he is having to scramble like we saw a couple times today, it's quick, decisive decisions. It's not him running around a circus act back there. He's quick, knows what he's doing. And I think that 0 sacks goes a long way. It could be definitely people can skim right by it looking at a box score, but 0 sacks is huge, especially considering that was probably one of his number one problems last year is being the most
Mhm.
sacked quarterback in the league. And another cool thing I wanted to point out that I thought was really interesting, I didn't really notice it in the game, but taking a look at the box score after the game, 6 different players rushed for the Bears today in the offense. And once again, props to Ben Johnson. I think the first 2 weeks, he's kind of seen the running backs, not really get those tough yards. So he's finding other ways to incorporate players into the run game to get those rushing yards. And that's completely fine. There's no problem with that. But we have Kyle Monungai, Olamide Zaccheaus, Luther Burden, DeAndre Swift, Caleb Williams, and DJ Moore all rushing. And Olamide Zaccheaus and Luther Burden, yeah, they're two jet sweeps. They each got one chance at it, but one went for 12 yards, the other one went for 7 yards. Those are good ways to incorporate the run game in there. And he did it late in the game when we needed to take time off the clock, which was really cool to see. So I thought that was really cool to see from the offense, especially in the run game, because the past 2 weeks, it's only been DeAndre Swift getting the runs. Now you're starting to see Ben Johnson make adjustments already early into his head coaching career, getting more different runners involved for different looks to help us in the run game. So I think that was really cool to see.
Yeah, I think it was outstanding to see it, and I think they even said it during the broadcast. That defense or Eberflus, he didn't know what to do, right? I mean, you didn't know who was going to have the ball, if it was a run play, if it was a pass play, if it was a screen, jet sweep, if it was going down the middle. I mean, Ben Johnson really called a complete game, really mixing it up, taking advantage of all the weapons on the team. I'm sure you'll talk about the one potential injury out there. Hopefully, it's not that bad. But all the people who either held the ball, threw the ball, or received the ball, that was exciting. The only thing I would add to all this, and I'm sure you can hear the enthusiasm in our voice. You probably are enthusiastic about the game as well. Bottle a little bit up, right? Because we talked about this before the game, right? It. We all want wins, but I really think watching week 1, week 2, and week 3, we're seeing the progression. We're understanding what we can and cannot do. The coaches are evaluating the talent that we have. There's going to be some ugly games ahead. So bottle this up because there's the potential. We see what they can do, and then we just keep adding pieces in, and it's going to get really exciting for the Bears. I'm just I'm overly excited tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. And another cool thing too, just to see too, 8 different receivers catching the ball today. Ball's getting spread out. It's not going to one, group of players or a player in general. It's again, the ball's getting spread. Ben Johnson's finding different ways to feed all his weapons, and that's what a good, OC / head coach does. They get all their players involved to keep them, focused on the game plan and engaged in the game. It can get hard sometimes with some receivers who, have sometimes a little bit of an ego and they're not getting the ball, and it can, make them, hang their head or it affects the way they're going to play the rest of the game. So props to him for finding different ways. And then obviously props to Caleb for delivering it all over the place, getting his playmakers involved. And we really saw those explosive plays on full display this week. It was, I mean, the best part of it all was is that flea flicker. First off, DeAndre Swift, buddy, you got to learn how to toss a ball backwards. Not he literally threw Caleb a suicide grenade up in the air. Hey, catch this! As it's about to come down, like it's like we're playing Call of Duty and he's throwing a grenade and it's about to explode right as it lands in Caleb's hand. And Caleb stands there, guy jacks him right in his chest, and he just throws a 60-yard ball on a rope to Luther Burden, who, by the way, welcome to the league, Luther Burden. And props to you, Ben Johnson, for getting your rookie involved who needs to get involved. This guy is, we saw it today, he's a playmaker, man. He goes out there, he makes plays. He led the
Three
Bears
for
today.
101 yards.
I was about to say 3 for 101 yards and 1 touchdown. Granted, 65 of that came from that big play, but hey, he made a huge third down catch later in the game too. That was massive. Him just sitting in the zone, found the gap, sits down, makes a nice friendly target for Caleb, catches the ball, does the rest after the play. So the offense was just so fun to watch today. And there is one drive I do want to bring up and talk about that really just grabbed my attention. And, it looked like the Eagles for a second, just how many times we ran the ball. And it may be boring, but it's just so methodical, so smart from Ben Johnson. Out at halftime, Cowboys get the ball. They get a first down. After that, the Bears force the 3 and out. They punt the ball to the Bears. Here is how it goes. 19 play touchdown drive from Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears offense. Starts off 11-yard run, incomplete pass, 12-yard pass, 9-yard pass, 0-yard run, 2-yard run, 7-yard run, 4-yard run, 2-yard run, 4-yard run, 7-yard run, 5-yard run, 4-yard run, 2-yard run, 8-yard run, 4-yard pass, 7-yard pass. Oh, by the way, 4th and goal. We're not scared. 4-yard touchdown pass from Caleb Williams to DJ Moore. I mean, when is the last time as a Bears fan we have seen a methodical drive like that to seriously put the game on ice? Because Ben Johnson took off like 10 minutes off the clock in that third quarter, pretty much gave the Cowboys no other possessions in the third quarter. And guess what? The Bears are up 17 in the going into the fourth quarter. Good luck, Cowboys. You got to go score 17 points, go run no huddle, figure everything out. I mean, it was awesome to see 11 straight run plays in that sequence of that 19-yard play, that 19 play drive. It was just so cool to see. And props to most of that was DeAndre Swift and Cal Monangai. Props to them for getting the dirty yards. There was so many times in there it was 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. And props to them getting their head down, move their feet, get the tough yards. It was amazing to see. That was probably even though with Caleb making all the circus throws, big explosive plays, delivering the football, that drive was probably my favorite part of the game because it put the game on ice. It also showed Ben Johnson be like, "Oh, if we want to win a game, we're going to play dirty and we're going to run this clock to the ground." And you love to see it.
It was a statement drive for sure. I mean, just just the way the plays were called and going down the field running the ball, it wasn't like desperation, right? It wasn't like, oh, we gotta try to get down the field to try to get another score. It was a very determined play calling sequence from beginning to the touchdown, and it was exciting. I mean, when you can control the clock for almost a full quarter and come away with points, that tells you the kind of talent we do have on the team, and the coaching that we have on the team. I mean, it was impressive. It just beyond believable. I mean, we haven't seen that in forever, like you said, and it was exciting to see it. So I hope there's more to come.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so cool to see Ben Johnson. Like I said, he was as as my young, friends and we like to say, Ben Johnson was in his bag today. He had a bag of tricks and he pulled out every card you could, and you saw it on display. And this is why he was the number one sought out head coach, you know, in this offseason. And thank you, Ben Johnson, for coming to the Bears, because I don't know if the Bears organization deserves you. We've seen disasters here by the management and owners in this for the Chicago Bears. But thank you, Ben Johnson, for choosing to come to the Bears, because this is in the right direction. And I know we talked about it, after the game. You called me and we said, as long as we see this growth between Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, as much as it would hurt us if the Bears didn't make the playoffs, I think that is the main focus this season, is Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, this pairing just continuing to grow for the coming seasons, because realistically, what we're seeing now should have been Caleb's rookie record, but instead we're having to see it a year later because, oh, by the way, Matt Eberflus, once again, you couldn't help the Bears win a game when you were here, but now when you're away, you can help the Bears win a game because you're a shitty defense. So thank you, Ben Johnson, and let's just see this pairing between Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson continue to grow. And like we've said many times on this show, it's not going to be linear. It's not going to continuously be skyrocketing like it is right now. It's going to be some ups and downs in there, but let's just see by the end of the season the overall growth from game 1 with Ben Johnson to game 17. And I think it's going to work out beautifully. It's off to a great start. And to all the haters out there, whether we know you, whether you're the national media, whether you're the Chicago media writing bad about Caleb Williams, go write an article about today's game, because Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson came to play today, and it was a statement.
Was a big, big statement. And I think here's the other takeaway for me. We weren't waiting on the kicker to win us the game. It wasn't, let's try to get down the field and get within field goal range and oh goodness, the double doink, right? It was an offensive win. It was a QB, wide receiver, tight end, running back win. And that's the kind of football we've been starving for in Chicago. I don't know the last time we had, this type of football in Chicago. It's definitely been a while. But to watch what we watched today was truly it was special. And I hope for many years to come we get to watch the Odunze Caleb Williams connection happen out there. And now with Burden, even Zacchaeus, right? Look at what he did picking up some of those tough yards for us. So the whole system is coming together. How about penalties? We didn't talk about a lot of penalties
How
because
you brought up, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, finish your
there
thought.
wasn't a lot of penalties out there, right? It wasn't like the false starts. Guess whose name I didn't hear called today? Braxton Jones. I didn't hear it. You know why? Because he did his job. I like it when I don't hear about some of the linemen. Granted, Wright on the other side had some opportunity there, and he got a little banged up. Came out for a little bit, and we got to see the Canadian Eagle come in there to relieve him for a little bit while he healed up. But for the most part, you didn't hear the old line because they did their job, and he had protection. He was, it was exciting. That's all I
I,
gotta say.
I was about to say, now that you bring that up too, I'll have to go back and double check, but I don't think there was one false start penalty at all in the game. I know we had the one holding call on Darnell Wright, and I
Mhm.
think that was it from the O line today. And then there was another one, ineligible receiver, or where one of the
Downfield.
linemen got too far downfield.
Yep.
But pre-snap wise, those issues we saw in week 1 and week 2, they weren't there today. And that actually might be the most impressive and
Yeah.
encouraging sign for the offense going forward, because like we said, those are the ones where it sets you behind the chains and you have to go somehow make it up in the NFL, where it is high level football and it is almost an impossible task to get those 20 yards back. Now you're 1st and 20. So shout out to the O line. I think they deserve a huge shout out now that you bring
Mhm.
that up, especially with the no false starts. That is absolutely massive.
Yep.
And
And you
and I
mentioned as
think
well in the beginning, no sacks, right? That's the O line. Every time the every time a sack gets given up, we bang on that O line. So that's what I like to see. That's definitely some continuity and improvement. Granted, it's taken 3 games to get there, but it's only what's to come in the rest of the season. So good job, O line.
Yeah, and one last thing before we kind of give our final predictions, I did want to bring up the other methodical drive Ben Johnson had, which was right before halftime. You get the ball back with 4 minutes. You know Dallas gets the ball out of half. At this time, I think the Bears at the time only had a 3-point lead. It was 17-14. There's about 3 minutes left. Ben Johnson, what does he do? He starts running the ball to make Dallas burn their 3 timeouts. So they guess what? You don't get any time left. We're having the last possession, and he runs it perfectly. We go score a touchdown to Cole Kmet, and there's 15 seconds for Dallas to go try and get a field goal with no timeouts. And guess what? No points. This is coaching. This is not just him running a successful offense. This is head coaching, time management, that once again, don't mean to bring you up again, Matty Eberflus, but you were terrible at. So many time management issues we saw from last year's coaching staff. And Ben Johnson, in his first year being a head coach, time management today was beautiful on multiple levels, from that drive before halftime, getting points, getting 3 at least. But guess what? He gets 7. And then on top of it, that long drive we talked about in the third quarter to run that whole quarter down and not give Dallas an opportunity with the ball. And you go up 17 because guess why? You're Ben Johnson going for it in 4th and goal and getting a touchdown. Props to DJ Moore for finding a soft spot sitting down there. But let's give away our game balls for the offense. I'll let you start. Go ahead.
I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? I got to go Caleb Williams. That was some impressive quarterback play out of a guy who just gets beat down week after week by the media, and the fans, right? The fans are like, it's Tyson Bagent time, or we shouldn't have drafted him. So the game ball goes to him. I mean,
Yeah,
what a display
yeah, he might get NFC North or NFC Player of the Week. I think
with that
I,
flea
I
flicker. I
was
don't know how you don't.
I was about to say I'll have to check on Jalen Hurts's performance because they did have a good comeback win, but that was more of their special teams blocking
Yeah.
2 field goals. I don't know if you can.
And the big guy ran it back. It wasn't like Jalen brought him down the field for the touchdown.
I was about to say, maybe with Jared Goff and JJ getting the NFC Player of the Week, maybe it's finally Caleb's turn. Which, hey, that'd be cool to see too. 3 NFC North quarterbacks get an NFC Player of the Week to start the season.
Tough division.
Tough division. You love to see it. If I have to give a game ball, as much as I do want to give my game ball to Luther Burden for just showing up when it mattered, 3 catches, it may not sound a lot, but like I said, he had a 3rd down catch, and obviously that, as much as that was a great ball from Caleb Williams, that is still a really hard catch by Luther Burden. And by the way, catches it, breaks a tackle, stays in bounds, and scores a touchdown. So I do want to give it to Luther, but I am going to give this other game ball for the offense to the offensive line. I think after hearing, you bring up the no penalties and then obviously the no sacks, we got to give props to this O line. There's not years prior, there's not any games we would give a game ball to the O line, but today they did deserve it, giving up no sacks, no pre snap penalties, which is awesome to see. So hats off to the O line. I'm going to give them the game ball for the offense. And we can just wrap this up with any final thoughts. I don't know if you have any final thoughts you kind of want to get out. I know for my sake, I can't say it enough. Feels good to get a win. Be a nice little victory Monday. We get to go watch the Sunday night game now and relax. We don't have to be thinking about what happened 2 hours ago. We get to enjoy the rest of our weekend before the new work week. And I just also thank you, Ben Johnson. I've said it enough, but it feels good to have Ben Johnson here and see it on full display. And lastly, thank the Lord you're gone, Matt Eberflus. Thank the Lord.
Wow. I echo everything you say. The other thing I would say is, since everyone's in such a good mood since the Bears won, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, drop some comments, right? Let's chat it up this week as we go into another fun game out in Las Vegas. But definitely give some love. Remember, it's free, and if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe later. But hopefully, you enjoy the comment, and who doesn't love free?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good week. Don't forget, we will be live later in the week for the pregame matchup against the Raiders and games to come. Like we said, there's a lot of winnable games coming up on the schedule, and it's off to the next week, new game. Kind of got to have a short memory, even though they're coming off a good win. Celebrate tonight, but it's back to work the following day. So we'll have you covered with that pregame against the Raiders next week before the bye week. But I think that'll do it for the show. We're trying to stay on the shorter side of these shows to see how they do. Last week's was pretty well. Just give us feedback in the comments. You like the shorter shows? Are they a little bit more easier for you guys to watch? But don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and we will catch you on the next episode. But for now, bear
Bear
down.
down.